Hello everybody, Dragonfire here. I meant to get this video out sooner, but I've been a little under the weather, so I didn't want to wait any longer. I wanted to make sure this video got out before the end of the week, so here we go with my top 10 albums of 1986. 1986. First off, I want to go through a few honorable mentions. Here is Joe Santiago, Santiago. I don't know how to pronounce his name, obviously, but it's not of this earth. It's a good guitar, a lot of instrumental tracks on here. It's brand new. I'm just kind of getting used to it, but good guitar player. He could have been a guitar player in a hair metal band, in my opinion, but this is more rock and roll without the lyrics, a lot of instrumentals, like I said, so interesting stuff. I'm gonna give Weird Al Yankovic a shout out here. Polka Party came out in '86. Quiet Riot had QR3. Van Halen had 5150. Yeah, this didn't make my top 10. This is the first time, I think, first time a Van Halen album has not made my top 10, but I'm just not as big a fan as uh, of the Sammy Hagar years, but it still gets an honorable mention. And then the only reason this one doesn't make my top 10 for 1986 is because it's a compilation album of previously released songs from other albums. But man, this is such a great joy to listen to. AC/DC's Who Made Who. And also, I don't really do live albums for these, so George Thorogood's George Thorogood live. I believe he also had a regular album this year, but that didn't make my top 10 either. But always love me some George Thorogood. Check out George Thorogood live. Okay, I think officially coming in at number 10 for me for 1986, I'm going to go with Queensryche and Rage for Order. Queensryche, Queensryche Rage for Order is going to be my number 10. At 9, I'm going to have Metallica, Master of Puppets, their 1986 album. Um, yeah, anything 80s Metallica, 80s, and their first album, the 90s, really good stuff. I'm going to do less on some of these here. Uh, Alice Cooper gets my, uh, what am I at? Queensryche was 10, Metallica was 9. Yeah, I guess Alice Cooper was 8. Alice Cooper Constrictor, pretty good album. Alice Cooper had some really good stuff towards the mid to late 80s. Constrictor, great album. How about David Lee Roth in his solo career? Um, his first solo album after leaving Van Halen. Good stuff. Eat 'em and Smile. Alright. Now, for my number 5. This is one I don't have a physical copy of. But I'm going with Europe's The Final Countdown. Europe's Final Countdown. I don't have a physical copy of it, but I do have a legal download on the internet. Illegal, legal being the key word. But yeah, download on the internet for an album. Since I couldn't find a physical copy, I did end up downloading it some time ago. And my favorite album by the band Europe, and of course the great song, the title track from that album, The Final Countdown, one of my favorite songs of all time. That'll take my number 5 spot. Here's my number 4, moving on to my Mount Rushmore. Number 4, with Look What the Cat Dragged In. This is a special edition that has a few extra bonus tracks, but the original album had 10 songs on it. Um, I do think that this is the weakest of the first three studio albums by Poison. Um, the second and third album might have ranked a little bit higher had they come out in '86, but this is a very strong album for '86. Um, yeah, this is just really, I mean, really good stuff. Even though it's the weakest of the first three, like I said, it's still '80s Poison. You got the title track, Look What the Cat Dragged In, Talk Dirty to Me is awesome, Want Some, Need Some, Number One Bad Boy, I Want Action, Cry Tough, I Won't Forget You. Yeah, it's a pretty solid album by Poison. Next up, I'm going with my bronze medal for Rat Dancing Undercover. I mean, what do I need to say? This is '80s Rat. Um, this one, uh, Body Talk, Slip of the Lip, Drive Me Crazy. Yeah, there's just enough's enough. Just some really solid stuff on here. What do I need to say? I mean, it's '80s rap. Like I said, you can't go wrong with '80s rap. The albums they put out in the 1980s are hair metal perfection. But my number two with silver medal, I'm going with Cinderella Night Songs. Um, yeah, the title track, Night Songs, is fantastic. Then you got Shake Me, Nobody's Fool, Nothing for Nothing. Yeah, Hell on Wheels. Uh, yeah, fantastic album. Just listen to this one from start to finish. But I had to go with my number one album for 1986. This time, it's Bon Jovi that gets it. Yeah, Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet. This is a perfect album uh, from beginning to end. It's got Living on a Prayer on here, Want It Dead or Alive, Raise Your Hands, I'd Die for You, Wild in the Streets, You Give Love a Bad Name. Look at that track listing there. Slippery When Wet from 1986, Bon Jovi. This was the real breakthrough album. Their first two albums, you know, had kind of one song that did all right from each of them. But this one had several singles that charted and really broke Bon Jovi into the mainstream. So, yes, that's my number one album of 1986, Slippery When Wet by Bon Jovi.